Welcome to the Lure Lab. If you're serious about catching more bass, you're in the right place. We're part of the Serious Angler Network, and the Lure Lab is presented by Omnia Fishing. Today, we're diving deep into 3 soft plastic fishing baits to fish in shallow water during the spring with Louis Monetti. He's a frequent flyer here on the Serious Angler Network. There's going to be a ton of juice dropped in this episode, and any of the baits that are mentioned that are available on Omnia, you can find down below in the description. And don't forget to use code Serious10 for 10% off. But seriously, Louis drops a ton of knowledge about shallow fishing in this episode, 3 very specific baits, and also gives information on 1 or 2 others that are going to help improve your success while fishing shallow with soft plastic. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Well, joining us, right? Louis Monetti, been on the Serious Angler Network a few times, new to the Lure Lab. So, man,
Yeah,
saw you at the Classic. We chatted, said we had to
yeah,
get an episode recorded. Here you are. What's been going on, man?
man. Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me on. I've been traveling the universe, selling biz baits and fishing my butt off, and yeah, just covering miles, fishing a couple tournaments where I've disappointed myself thoroughly, but we won't talk about those. But no, it's been good. Life's good. Just like I said, traveling around, kind of trying to get my feet under me and get ready to do the opens again here soon.
Now you're selling biz baits, correct?
Yep. Yep. All biz.
I will not lie. I have yet to throw any biz baits, but they look good.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're talking about flipping or fishing shallow soft plastics, right? Like what soft
Yeah.
plastics to use and what situations while fishing shallow. And I know this is something that you absolutely love to do. You
Absolutely.
you qualified for the classic this way, right? Through the Bass Nation Championship.
Through the college
College,
championship.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, it was, I think, over 50% of our fish came on, you know, plastics. I mean, up shallow. That's all I used to do. Now I'm scoping. I do a little more other stuff, but I mean, even still, I think I've just like with the advent of live scope, I've just kind of still stayed away from the open water, and I still fish shallow. So like it's not like the stuff that I used to do doesn't apply. Like it's still very much in my arsenal.
Yeah, I love it. So when you or people think shallow bass, right? Like
Hmm.
it seems like in today's fishing terminology, there's always been deep fish and shallow fish, but it seems like
Hmm.
it's even more prevalent now that everyone's off the bank that I feel like it's been a common denominator lately on the show. We've been talking shallow, shallow, shallow. And I think you're going to see that come around where people start coming back to the bank more. So I
Yeah,
think it's imperative to kind of get ahead of that curve. But when anglers think about shallow water bass, like, I want to know what is your favorite baits, soft plastic baits to target these shallow fish with?
yeah, no. So I mean, for me, like like we could end this episode and just do one. Like, I mean, this is gonna sound super John Coxey of me, but it's a stick bait. Like that's one A, B through C through Z. Like I mean, for me, it's so silly. It's the first thing any of us ever learned how to catch bass on, or most of us at least. And it just continues to catch fish.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how you go about it. I there are tournaments that I have fished legitimately that I've had 4 different iterations of a stick worm tied on my deck. So one is certainly going to be that, probably like a 5 inch. 5-inch. For me, it's Bizbait stick, Sassy stick. Um, but that is far and away number one. If I were to add on another one or two, I'd say probably just some kind of craw. And for me, it's rarely by itself. We can kind
You
of get
hit it with
into.
a jig on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like most times going to be on the back of a jig or, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. But there are certainly times, and we can get into that, like, different either vegetation scenarios or bed fishing, stuff like that. So I'll go to that. And then three, again, it's kind of like it sounds a super beginner y thing. But I feel like a Ned rig gets overlooked. Like I feel like a Ned rig had its moment in the sun there, where it was like it went from not many people were throwing it and everyone was laughing at it to everyone was throwing it. I feel like we're kind of fading back off of it again, especially like with the advent and like the the pushing of a Nico, B like the dice, you know,
Yeah.
bunch of other Japanese like styles of baits, just stuff like that. I feel like the Ned is like kind of fading away, and for me, like that's my dream as a fisherman. I mean, like I'm always wanting to throw something that's not getting thrown as much. So if I
Hey,
were to give you three, go ahead.
I was gonna say Ned rig. That's just another stick bait s. So I'm gonna ask you for an honorable mention. Like
Honorable mention.
what if like there's a shad spawn going on the lake or a mayfly hatch? Like, what would you pick up then?
Dude, so this is gonna sound really funny, and especially because like I currently live in North Carolina, and like that's those two styles of fishing in the spring are two of the most prominent ways to fish. I don't like. I've just never understood it. Like the typical southern ways to fish, I've just never clicked with me.
You're a
Um,
northern boy at heart. I love it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So if I were to go with an honorable mention, dude, it would be some cross, like somewhere in between. If we're talking soft bait specifically, somewhere in between either a swimming, like this is a tie. Honorable mention's a tie. It's a swimming worm or just a some sort of swim bait. That's going to be like my honorable mentions, and your swim worm, I'm going to apply, obviously grass pretty much exclusively, and then a swim bait, vegetation or not grass, harder cover, docks. I mean, and grass. Now that I think about it, it's
Right.
certainly something that plays a ton. I think again that kind of like goes back to that Ned rig thing. I feel like everyone is throwing, and me too. Trust me, I am a chatterbait loyalist. If I could take one bait, it might be a chatterbait. But that being said, I feel like a swim bait, like your old grass style swim bait on like a good old, just a weighted hook, like that's something that no one's throwing anymore, and still
Right.
very much as effective in grass. So,
What was it like? The big one there for a while was like a reaction innovation skinny dipper, right? Like
mhm.
a little 1/8 ounce keel weighted hook, and that thing fished. I used to love it on the back of a bladed jig.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that thing thumped, and I feel like it
yeah.
went very under the radar. And there was a few other ones too, but yeah,
Yeah, and dude, it's such a major player for us in the Carolinas. Like all of your spotted bass lakes, your herring lakes, kind of like an underrated. It's niche. Like you need conditions to do it and do it well. But a skinny dipper weightless on just a Texas rig hook kills when they're chasing herring on those long points. Kills, like just sling it out there and burn it back real
yeah.
quick. It's a
And the
killer.
nice thing about too is how densely salted it was that it sinks like a rock.
Oh yeah, you can
Get,
you can keep it down like weightless. You can keep it
yeah,
down, just bomb it out, and it casts great. And so that's like a little sneaky, kind of swim bait thing.
sneaky
Uh,
juice. I love it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
get back on track here, right? With like the shallow water fishing as we're tapering off into the abyss in points. But
right.
what are some common mistakes in your eyes that anglers make when fishing shallow water, specifically with soft plastics?
Okay, specifically with soft plastics, this honestly, this kind of it this applies across the board. Like this is just a mistake I think people make, including myself. Last week in a tournament I fished, I think I made this mistake. I think you can get in that in between where like there's two ways to go about it. I think you have two extremes here. It's fish super freaking fast, burn down the bank, only throw at highest percentage stuff, and just go 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 go, or crawl. You can't live in the in between. The in between is not the place to live, in my experience. I feel as if anytime I get stuck there, I'm being super inefficient in one aspect or the other. Either I'm not picking things apart thoroughly enough, or I'm not seeking out those active fish the way I could be. So I feel like it's hard to say because like I'm not saying I think the biggest mistake is too fast or it's too slow. I think the mistake that people make is you get caught in between both of those kind of theories, and you're
Yeah.
not letting your worm sit for long enough, or you're not really thoroughly picking apart the area the way you should with your stick worm or your craw or your swim bait, whatever it may be. And I think that applies like on any of those baits. Like it's not just like, oh, you're throwing a stick worm, that means it's got to be slow. Absolutely not. I mean, yeah, you
Oh,
go.
there's been too many times where you skip it up underneath something, and as soon as it stops, that fish boils on it.
Yeah,
Like it,
absolutely.
I think where anglers struggle and all of us struggle with is like fishing the situation that's presented, right? And going
Mm,
with the flow. Like we everybody is personally wired to do what they feel like is best, but instead of reading the situation, like we don't fish the moment too much, we fish what we want to do.
yeah.
So like we catch a fish on a piece of stick, right? It's like, okay, now I need to find that same cover all over the place, but let me fish that twig, that trunk, the end of that.
Mhm.
But I need to throw 17 different baits, and sometimes it's just keep one rod locked in your hand and go, or
Yeah.
kind of zigzag. And when you get bit on one or two baits, just rotate between those two and fish it fast as you need to. So
Yeah.
that's a great point.
You can be in either. I think you can be in either place than in the wrong.
Yeah,
And I really think like I think a lot of the time it just depends on like your personal style of angler. Now that's not so much the case in like Florida. In Florida, you kind of got to be slow. Um, but like outside of that, I think you can kind of do well doing either. You just can't get stuck in between.
right.
Um, I've always been a drag slow pick aparter. That's how I've always fished, and it's how I do my best. Um,
And now you have live scope and it's messing with you.
it is. It certainly is, dude. But I really like. I feel like I get caught up when I try and speed up, unless I'm making a conscious effort. Like Lewis, you are going to put one cast on every one of these docks, and that's it. Like that's it. And not even one cast on every one of these docks. You're going to put one cast on the walkways of every one of these docks. Other than that, trolling motors on 100, you're going. That I can do really well doing. But other than that, like it's either freaking fly around or really creep around, especially in the springtime, because those fish will get either on some sort of pattern, or you will always have some sort of active fish that you're dealing with, to where you can really move, or you can just pick apart cover and catch fish that are moving up, that are coming back, that are sitting on a bed. It's just you can kind of do either way, but I think the biggest mistake is you can't get caught in between.
I love it. So now that we're kind of we're talking about the in between, right? Like
Yeah.
now, the next question I have for you is how important is it to match your soft plastic color to the forage in the body of water you're fishing,
Hmm.
along with water conditions?
So this is where I'm both the worst guest and worst person to ask.
Oh no.
I'm like, it's funny because I always like it's such and dude, not even further than that, I'm the worst tackle salesman of all time. I'm terrible at my job. Uh,
You're
I'm
like
one of
green
those.
pumpkin, black and blue. That's it. Run with it.
That's how I
I'm the
roll,
same
baby.
way.
Now, like, let me clarify. Like, and I've been proven so wrong with this. Um, you can I do believe that color matters. Like I'm not that hard headed. I just think intricacies don't really matter. I think your profile, your vibration, your bait's giving off, that kind of stuff matters so much. But all this being said, I think it's really important to have hues. And what I mean by that is like have your basic hues down. Have so like if let's use example one through or A through Z stick bait. When I go out fishing in the springtime, it's a pain in the butt because my boat weighs 1,000,000 pounds. But I bring like I usually have 6-ish colors of sassy sticks in my boat, and those are something watermelon based, something green pumpkin based, something black based, something purple based, something red based, and something shad based. So
Love
that's
it.
6. But I have a million of all of them, and I will try and figure out what one to go with. Do I care if it's June bug or candy bug? No. Do I care if it's green pumpkin magic or green pumpkin red? No. Do I care, like that kind of stuff? I don't care about red shad or red bug. No, I don't care. But I try and have something in every hue because I definitely have found that there are times that you need to be throwing something that looks like X. Whatever X is, I have no idea. I had a tournament on Toledo Bend the year I fished the Opens where I was flipping a black worm around, same thing, black stick worm, and I could not get bit. I knew I had fish found. They weren't giant ones, but I knew it was around fish. And my filled out his 3-fish limit before I caught one flipping red bug. And I was like, what on earth, dude? Switched to I had the closest thing I had was like red shad or something, and I went to just catching them just as good. And it was like, whoa. Like I just very much learned something.
Coincidence.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say hues are super important. And I don't know if that's a weather thing. Like basically my deal is like if I feel like I'm in an area that I'm in fish, I'm not getting bit on a stick worm and I know there's now a scope, you can know there's fish around. That's kind of nice. That's when I'll start messing around a little bit with colors, but like in a sensible way. Like you know, if I'm on Santee Cooper, it's gonna be it's not gonna be watermelon and it's not gonna be shad. It's gonna be GP, black, purple, red. Like I'm gonna keep it there. Whereas if I'm in New York, it's gonna be GP, watermelon, black. Like I'm gonna keep it pretty simple based on where I'm at. Hartwell, I'm gonna be GP watermelon shad. Like it just I keep it within a couple of hues, but if I go through the hues I think make sense and don't get bit, well, in that case, it's time to get the hell out of wherever I'm at.
Yeah, they're just not biting. I love
Yeah.
it. So, we're talking about your plastic choice number one. That's a stick bait. So, as we're going through that, we talked about the colors and everything, right? Like, where would you fish it? Like, what is your ideal situation to throw the sassy stick around?
Man, it's tough. This
Everywhere?
time this time of the year, everywhere.
Love it.
I mean, seriously, it's just it seems like it's just such a for fish around the spawn, it's just such an effective freaking tool. Um, on the James last week, I was I was throwing it at cypress knees. I was throwing it at fry garters. I was throwing it just up against bank grass, like kind of just throwing it. And I find myself doing that a lot when I'm around fish. Um, Cypress this time of the year, if you have it in your local lake, such a great place to start. It always is. It's hardcover. Those fish are going to spawn around it. If wherever you fish has cypress knees, it probably means that the bottom's not very hard. So it just makes so much sense. So that for as far as going wacky on it, like cypress, docks, those are kind of your over anything overhanging. Like that's kind of your 1A, your best case scenario. But when I say stick bait, like I'm not wacky worm is not the only way I'm going with it. I mean, I that's
Same.
my go-to Nico. There's a lot of like skinny Nico specific worms out these days. I just do it with a stick worm. I find it's super effective. Um, I a Texas rig, like a good old weighted Texas rig, man. I mean, it's so silly and so like feels so beginnery, but it is so
Catches
darn
them
effective. I mean,
everywhere. They
yeah,
bite that dang thing. It's my favorite thing to flip.
yeah,
Like,
me
I'm
too.
always flipping a stick worm.
Yeah, dude, it's so like for me, it is a bait that I have in the rod locker rigged up year round, like a 3/16 Texas rig stick worm. I have it sitting there ready because if I'm ever on a lake and it's like, oh shoot, need a bite, my pattern is gone, my area is toast. You just run around and find a lay down. You run 3 or 4 of them, you're gonna get a bite. Like it's so effective.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so silly and it's so basic, but it's so effective. So that's another way. Like I mean, that's not even a springtime thing. That's just
That's just fishing.
yeah, dude, it is. It's my favorite grass fishing bait. Like to slow down and pick apart an area. Uh, Like if I'm fishing milfoil hydro off the bank and I'm catching on a chatterbait or a trap, I need to slow down and try and pick off some stragglers. That's what I go to. Like it's such a go to for me.
Sure.
Um, Yeah, there's probably other ways I go about it. I mean, like tidal water, weightless Texas rig. You throw that thing in holes in the grass and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the one for me.
Now, are you a casting rod or a spinning rod, or is it like if you're Texas rig in it, it's bait cast or casting
Yeah,
setup, and if it's wacky, then you go to a spinning rod. So, like, kind of talk about your setups real quick before
yeah.
we move
No,
to.
that's a really good question. I do so wacky rigs like a 7 foot medium. Really really basic. Always 10 pound braid for me with a 5 inch. It's always 10 pound braid to anywhere from 7 to shoot on the James 12, on your leader. I am a huge, and this is no ties whatsoever. I've not gone and tried these Ryugis that everyone's yapping about these days, but I'm a huge owner sniper finesse fan. By far my favorite wacky worm hook. That thing is just killer. Uh, Then Texas rig, like my flippin' Texas rig, like it's 3/16 tungsten. I peg it always
You do the peg above the weight and below it, or just above?
just above. I don't know if I should be doing it below. Should I?
I, I, I go back and forth all the time.
Okay.
Like, oh, this is nice, and
I'm
then
like,
like,
oh, I
oh,
don't
I'm
know.
lazy. I'm only putting one peg onto it. Oh, it catches them just as good. Like it's like,
I've never even tried that. It might be something I'm missing out on. I have no earthly idea.
well, it's kind of nice. Like if you break off, right, and it just breaks off at the knot, then you get your weight back.
That is nice.
Yeah,
That's real nice.
I think that's the purpose of it. But I'm like, a lot of times it gets hung up. The weight's all wrapped up too, and it's just whatever. But
I do
yeah,
like that though. But yeah,
especially with tungsten prices about to go through the roof. We gotta start
mhm.
saving them the best we can.
Yeah, we can't make that one here in America, so that one's gonna be high one way or another.
Yeah,
uh,
100%.
yeah, no, so I do like that. Um, I'm a I don't know where you stand on this. I'm intrigued to hear. I've probably 3 years ago I switched and I'm a full fledged believer in straight shank. Um,
I'm still an EWG fan with it,
okay,
but it has to be a hybrid style, like an in
okay,
between a worm hook and an EWG.
I got you.
And I'm torn between two, but I've pretty much settled on one hook. It's the Hayabusa Worm 956.
Okay,
That hook is
okay,
nasty for throwing a stick bait around.
I'll have to try it. I
See,
Go ahead.
I say it like I flip a Gary Sanko.
Yeah,
They're so soft. The straight shanks, if you have one that's got like nano coat or it's thin, I find it just pops through it too quick, and I'm always getting hung up. That's why I like it EWG or hybrid style.
yeah, it that is 1,000,000% a problem with the straight shank. I just have such full confidence in hooking them.
Yeah,
Um, and so that's why I go with it. It's also, it's also nice that I've pretty much got my sticks taken care of, so one per fish is just fine by me.
Fine.
Yeah.
100%.
Um, so that's, first world problem there. But I go with a 4-aught jungle hook.
Give
It's
them the beans.
Yeah, like I said, dude, it's just I feel I have so much confidence. And what's interesting about that too is like I don't change that, go down or up or anything, like even depending on how I'm fishing it. Like for example, if I'm on Cayuga or something and I'm throwing that in 12-foot grass, I'm sizing down the line. I'm probably going like 14 or 12. Just kind of get down and get through that stuff. Maybe higher, I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I'm laughing because you're like 12 or 14. I'm like, man, I run 17 and 20 with my sea
yeah,
worms. Just they don't care.
no, that's most of the time where I'm at too. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. Um, but yeah, like I don't change that based upon the rod. Like I have that hook is so sharp. Like I get such good penetration. It's just it's really good for me. And yeah, the line thing varies a ton. Like it's just I I change it up a ton. I go from 12 to 20 to 16 to 14. Like I'm kind of all over the place, just feeling out the conditions. Um, and then rod there's like a 7.3 medium heavy, quick reel, 8 to something. And then lastly, I guess the last thing I will mention on that is like if I ever do go to like you're saying, like weightless in really shallow stuff, that's when like I'll kind of consider like a 7-foot medium, but on the heavier side spinning rod. I have no idea why. It just kind of feels right.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like whenever I'm fishing the Texas rig Senko around weightless and I have to throw it on a spinning rod, it's like 6'6" if I'm fishing tight to stuff, or 7 foot, like medium heavy is what I
Yeah,
like to call it. Like, yeah, real quick tip, but when you load it, it's got a nice butt to its backbone, so you can really get them out of stuff quick.
yeah,
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 I'm all about that. Yeah,
100%. And like another thing too is like this is like I guess growing up in Jersey, tough fishing, small fisheries, smaller fish. It's still something that I'll go to when it's really tough on a grass place. Is like a 4-inch weighted Texas stick bait, and that's again spinning. Like just an 1/8 ounce weight, the 4-inch little tiny dude. That's like just when the bite's tough, that feels like something that gets bit in grass.
yeah, it's something I need to mess around with more this year. Is that little 4-inch guys? Yeah, I haven't messed around with it enough. I've wackied it around, but
Yeah.
that's a pain to wacky too, like because it's so light.
Oh, it is. I need to fish with like my smallmouth rods when I'm doing that.
It's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, plastic number two, right? We're talking about
Mhm.
craws, back of jigs. So, like, what is your favorite craw you like to use, and then where do you fish the craw in the back of a jig, and what is your ideal situation?
Yeah. I'm gonna sound like a company man. It's because I honestly am. But I'll get into some alternatives down the line with some of the other stuff. It's 100% a biz cutter craw. I love that thing. It's comparable to other kind of action style craws. Like just really simple. We've got in two different sizes, 3 1/4 and 3 3/4. And what I like a lot about ours is it's just got like really effortless action. I'm not going to come on here and call out other companies, but if you've thrown craws like that before, not like flipping baits, like true action style craws, sometimes you'll flip it out there on a lighter jig and one arm will just,
Hmm.
you'll get this number going on.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the benefit to
those
ours, I
look
think,
good.
yeah, they're great baits. And I love that thing a lot on just any kind of jig. Like outside of like the dead of winter or really tough fishing in the fall, that's my jig trailer of choice, whether it be a swim jig, a flipping jig, or a little finesse jig. Smallmouth, largemouth spots. I love having that action. I don't know why, just kind of do. I think it's because I grew up like old school twin tail grub kind of guy, and that's kind of similar to it. I think it's just
Oh yeah.
ingrained in me. Um, and so yeah, that I love that thing on just on any kind of jig. And then this year and last year, the baby version of it, so like the 3 1/4, it's the smaller one, that has become my go-to finisher bed fishing bait. Like, get them going. Like, a lot of times it's get them going with the jig. Like, I'll get them pissed off with a jig or maybe like a bigger swim bait, or, I kind of go through stuff like that. But the bait to catch the fish 90% of the time for me lately is that baby cutter crawl. And it's a tiny little dude. It's like a 3 1/4. I somehow wiggle a 4/0 jungle hook into it. And it's just, I like it so much just because it's such a small, compact little bait.
And
But
you get a 4/0 hook into that thing?
yeah, barely.
Jeez.
Barely. It's tight. Um,
I gotta see a picture of those.
yeah, it's sweet.
Huh.
Pull it up. Pull it up.
No, I'm talking
You
about with your
picked up?
4/0 hook in it.
I'll send you one.
Oh my
I'll send you
gosh.
one. But yeah, dude, it's a killer little dude. It's just like, I think it's because it's so small. Like, if you get him aggravated, that if you get that bait in there, that's got so much action. Like, it really does have such effortless action, that even if they just try and nip at it, they've got hook, you
Yeah.
know. And so that's kind of been a thing the last couple of years that's been made it such a go-to for me in the spring, is just the bed fishability of that bait.
I am looking at all of your baits right now, and you have so many different colors in that cutter crowd. It's kind of nice. So, like, if you
Yeah,
have guys that love to go color crazy, like Biz Baits has a ton of colors to go with it. Like,
we do. We
I'll
try
tell
and
you, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say we try and offer them all.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like, I think a very underrated color for flipping is green pumpkin blue flake. For
Yeah,
whatever reason, like, there's certain days that I've found that that is the only color that they will eat for whatever reason. It's like blue flake, black flake, whatever. It doesn't matter. But you could fish if you had somebody throwing green pumpkin blue and you're throwing green pumpkin black and you don't get bit and they've got 12. There's
yeah,
something different. Like, people say flake doesn't matter. I believe on certain days flake matters because of sunlight or clouds, depending on the way the bait contrasts that. That's
yeah,
above my pay grade. But yeah, green pumpkin blue, I almost always have tied on now, no matter what I'm fishing.
yeah.
So it's
It's
cool to see Biz Baits has one.
Oh, absolutely.
Meet
It kind of
people.
like, it reminds me of a lot of guys that throw a lot of striking stuff. Like, I have buddies that are, and you may too. Like, I feel like everybody has a friend who's a rage bug loyalist. Like, this just it's
I can't catch them on a rage bug.
I can't
I'm
either. I never been able.
110% honest. I think I've caught 2 fish on it.
Yep, me too. Dude, I can't catch a bass on it. But I've got multiple buddies that are like, this is the bait that I will flip only. That's it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, all right, bro. But it's always that blue craw or blue
Yeah.
swirl.
Magic blue,
Always.
magic craw, blue swirl, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something
I
to
have
that.
an entire box of them. I've caught some on the June bug one, but like that's when they're up shallow in trees. I need something that falls real slow on a 1/4 ounce weight.
Yeah.
That's when I'll go to that. But very, very rarely do I catch them out in the grass, like flipping it around for
Yeah.
whatever reason. And
Same.
guys love it.
I know. I know. There's something to that bluer hue though at times that it really plays. I can't say that I honestly do keep green pumpkin blue in my boat, but I keep green pumpkin magic.
Oh, I
And
love that one too.
yeah, that's kind of just like that's old faithful for me. It really is.
Can't beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another color too, Gary. Do you remember when Gary Yamamoto had Dick's Only select colors, and now they're kind of mainstream? It was like the green pumpkin magic. But do you remember the watermelon red magic?
I don't think
It,
I do.
it was basically gold and silver flake with red flake, and the watermelon color was just slightly more translucent than your typical watermelon. On
Interesting.
really sunny, calm days, like that was my jam, that color. I think I have maybe one bag left. And I'm
Dang.
like, there's a certain situation where I'm going to throw this color. They don't make it anymore. And it
Yeah.
hasn't arisen yet when I've needed it in a tournament. So I'm like, I'm going to hold on to those.
It is so funny. It's so funny how stuff like that, like even in guys like us who like
Yeah.
were green pumpkin and black guys, like there's certain baits and certain colors It's like I'm saving this one for a rainy day.
Or
Like,
for, like, a certain lake, like a bait
yeah,
that won't like, I have certain finesse worms that I only pull out on certain bodies of water. I'm like, "This is ridiculous. They're gonna eat anything." You're like, "Alright, let me shake a robo worm. No,
right.
let me put this on. Oh, yeah, there he is." Like, I knew it. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
why did I wait so long?
100, dude. 100%. 100%. I'm the
Oh,
exact same way.
it's all confidence. I
Oh
love
yeah.
it.
It all has so little relevance to
Yeah,
actual catching bass. It's so funny.
because I could be fishing next to somebody, they'll be catching 'em on a robo worm. We're like, "Nope, not for me here. Let's
No,
go."
just that ain't gonna work for me. It's no way. So
And then I
freaking
go to another lake and I only throw a robo worm when I'm drop shotting. It's
right.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
No, 100%, dude. I'm
so
yeah.
4 rock owner jungle hook is
Hmm.
that's for both of the cutter craws, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
I do. I use the same one in both.
do you ever just Texas rig it and flip it around without putting it on the back of a jig?
I do. Not as commonly. But I do like. So here's how I always go about it. I always start like if I'm just flipping, um, just going to whether it be bushes or bank vegetation stuff like that. I don't know. This is so backwards. This is so
You
backwards.
throw a jig.
I throw a well, yes, I throw a jig,
I'd rather throw a jig first anyways.
but no, where I'm going with this is where I'm so backwards, and I don't understand why I'm this way. When I'm going and flipping a jig around, docks, wood, rocks, whatever, it's cutter craw first. Always. I don't change the trailer unless the situation's dire. Like and then I'll go to a chunk. I'll go to something with zero action. That's the big change I make.
And it's
Whereas
significant though.
it is. Whereas when I'm flipping a Texas rig, whether it be grass or bushes or whatever, for me it's beaver first. And the change that I'll make is go to the cutter craw. But it's
Got
like
it.
for whatever reason, if it's jig trailer, it's 90% of the time I want action. If it's flipping bait, it's 90% of the time I don't want action.
So you're throwing the biz bug then.
I'm no, I'll be honest with you, I'm throwing a beaver.
Beaver.
I'm
Fair
being
enough.
honest.
Why doesn't Biz make a beaver style bait?
We're working on it.
Fair
We're
enough.
working on it. My problem with the biz bug, it's a good bait. It has too much action for me. When
Mm.
I want to flip something with no action,
It's like a rage bug.
exactly, exactly. I either want it to have action or
Or not.
not.
This is back to it's coming full circle. We're back to stop being in the in between.
There we go.
I
There
love
we
it.
go. Look at
It
that.
has come full circle. So love it. Now, what's your
Love it.
setup for flipping around the cutter crop, my man? Just rod reel
Yeah.
line.
I mean, I don't know why this is like you'll notice this across the board with me. I don't like a long rod. I like to be around 7 foot for just about everything I do. So for flipping, it's a 7.3 heavy. And I like gamma line, so I use either 16 or 20.
Give away the juice, man.
Yeah, it's stuff so good. But you can the beauty of gamma is you can go down. Their 16 is like 20.
20.
Their 20 is like 25. So for me, it's 16 or 20 gamma, 7.3 heavy, and then I vary weight a lot just depending on what I'm fishing, how deep it is. But if it's like that bed fishing setup, the one that I've had rigged up for the last month, it's usually quarter, sometimes 3/16, and then that jungle hook.
Love it.
Yeah,
It's good stuff. All
yeah,
right. Now we're going complete opposite. Down to the finesse, being boring. The old Flander rig, the Ned rig.
yeah.
Where would you fish it? And what is your ideal situation and why?
So
And what
like
bait are you throwing? Because there's like 90,000 Ned rig baits,
yeah,
and the purpose is them to float, some don't float. Like it's all over the board.
yeah. It is. It totally is. I feel like with the Ned, um, it is goes without saying, not so much in dirty water. I've had very limited success with it in dirty water. So ideal scenario, clear. Just on the clear side of things. And then to go a step further, smallmouth or spots preferably. Not necessarily have to be, but prefer like if I'm fishing somewhere that's got smallmouth or spots and they are going to play, Ned's going to be on. Whereas if it's all largemouth, even if it's clear, I'll have it in the box. It ain't going to be on the front deck. If it's smallmouth and spot place, it's going to be on the deck. It just is. So that's the first thing. That's the first condition I'm looking for. As far as bait goes, I mess around. I go from just good old fashioned TRD to our Ned Dizzy to sometimes this is a little something. It's more so a winter thing, and I don't tell many people this. So Lure
Oh
Lab
boy,
get it.
juice.
Um,
I'm asterisking it. I'm sorry. I have to. So now
no,
people are
do
going
it,
to know
do
all
it, do
about
it.
it.
This is something that goes back to my northern ways, and I truly cannot tell you if this makes it. If I can't give you a story that surrounds this and with evidence of it being better. It's something I've done and it's worked in my head. Stupid cold, like stupid cold, less than 45. You really are crawling. This is totally off topic because we're talking springtime, but
It's fine.
wait, like straight up either sassy stick or Senko, something heavily salted that I want to do absolutely nothing action wise and just sit and do nothing on the bottom and look terrible. I can't
And
tell
then
you
you
if it's
hit.
made a difference, but I can tell you I've caught a lot of fish doing it in the wintertime.
Love that. And I'm sure it works too, like, not when there's so much floating around in the springtime, but as that water's just starting to warm up, like a week or two after ice out, and you're
Yeah,
out graphing around, like, ooh, there's a wad of them all grouped up in a winter hole. Let me just throw this heavy bomb turd on them and just sit there, and maybe one of them will wake up and bite it. And I feel like
right.
that's a great way to get an extra bite
Yeah. It's just something to mess
or a
around with.
bite.
Yeah. No, literally a bite, yes. I, it's something to mess around with for me. Like most of the time when I'm nedding, I don't want action. And so like how then if you're throwing a Ned rig and action is not something you're changing, this is one a Ned I never change color with. It's green pumpkin 100% of the time, all the time. I
Love
never
it. Love it.
change. So if I'm not changing action and I'm not changing the color, the only thing there is to change other than that is the weight and the buoyancy of it.
Yeah.
It's it.
Green pumpkin always.
Always.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like I probably should at some point try something different, but I just don't ever.
Hey, it's your confidence. You
If
gotta
I throw my green pumpkin Ned and I'm around fish and I throw it out there and it doesn't get bit, it's like, oh, they're not biting.
yeah.
Simple.
On to the next squad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's your setup for throwing the Ned?
So my setup there is gonna be like a six, I like a 6'9", 6'10" ish, something in that
Sure.
world. Um medium light, but with some ass to for lack of a better word. Like
Love it.
yeah, I want to. It's hard to say. Like I want it to be a stiff rod, but with a ton of give. Like there's a right feeling rod for a Ned for me that it's there. Like you'll get spinning rods, and especially medium light spinning rods. So maybe it's not a medium light. Maybe it's more so medium, but medium light feels better. So I guess it would be like a medium light extra fast.
It's like a schmedium.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm
Off
looking for. Like
medium. Yeah.
I want it to have like almost a stiff tip, just because I feel like with a Ned, your feel is everything.
100%.
Like you get such light bites on it. You want to know when you're on the bottom versus not. Um, all that kind of stuff, and I think that is so important with a Ned, which is why I like a fast, super fast tip. And then obviously I want the rod to be able to impact that hook set. Um, as far as line goes, I'm a when I go to Ned, it's 8 braid.
Hmm,
And I'll go anywhere from 5 to 8. I'll go really light on it. I believe in 6, and I believe in it making a difference no matter where I'm at in the country. I really, really do. Like
I like that.
Carolinas, it's 6 on my net is my go-to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'm fishing that heavy because I want that direct contact. I don't want any loops, and I feel like sometimes when you go too light, kind of gets blown around in the wind. I guess they all get blown around in the wind, right? Like,
Mhm.
so I don't know. I usually do 10, but I might have to
Okay.
try a little lighter.
I mean, well, here's where it started for me. That started for me when I first went to St. Lawrence as a kid.
Sure.
And I started messing around. I couldn't get bit, and this is when I first started like really figuring out a Ned, and getting a lot of faith in it. And I couldn't catch him on a Ned there, and I went from 8 pound leader down to 6, and it made a world of difference. And I think it has absolutely nothing to do with them seeing it. I think it had everything to do with the drag that the line has in the current.
Yeah.
And then so that started opening up my eyes to like, okay, just because there's no current doesn't mean that I won't have better bottom contact with lighter line, and I won't have
It
the
could also
ability.
be a rate of fall thing too. With that 6, it's going to cut through the water faster. So, like,
Yeah,
if you're fishing it on a quarter ounce head, it's going to get down there
yeah.
significantly faster than if it's on 8 pound. I was talking about braid. When I fish in that rig, it's
Oh,
6 or 8 pound fluorocarbon. So yeah, we're
yeah,
right in the same spot.
yeah. But the braid thing is, it's. I mean, when you're talking 8 and 10 pound braid, you're literally splitting hairs at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, it's comical.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, got one last question for you, Lewis, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to cut you loose. All right.
Okay.
So this is the Omnia Juice of the Week because the Lure Lab is presented by Omnia. But
Heck yeah.
I think you already answered this one at the beginning of the show. But if you could fish only one of these three baits we discussed today in shallow water for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why? But I'm adding another caveat onto it. You can
Good.
only choose one color.
Green pumpkin magic stick.
There you go.
Easy. Yeah. Easy. Easy. As the problem is if you were to face me with how to rig it, I'd probably go wacky. Um, But yeah, that's it in a landslide.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
It's just
Catches
it's
them everywhere. Old
yeah.
an ode to old Johnny Cox, right?
Oh yes, oh yes,
Love it.
absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah, if it works for him, I mean, shoot, there ain't a place that he doesn't go and throw that thing around.
Ain't that the fact? So
Yeah,
all right, man. Well, I want to say thank you for joining us here on the Lure Lab. It's been a little bit of a time coming, so probably should have had
absolutely.
you on earlier in the beginnings of the Lure Lab, but we appreciate you always taking the time to join us on whatever episode we're recording, be it the
Yeah,
Lure Lab or the Serious Angler Network, man. And I want to wish you safe travels and go catch some up in the next few derbs and get a rebound going for the second half of 2025.
thanks, buddy. I appreciate you having me, and appreciate the well wishes. Same to you. Get that boat running, and we got some fishing to do this summer. I'm gonna try and swing by. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. We'll figure it out.
Sweet.
All right, man. We'll chat with you soon.
All right, see you, bud.
And that's a wrap, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the Lure Lab presented by Omnia. We thank everyone who tunes in on a weekly basis to every one of these episodes. If you're new here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment down below of what your favorite soft plastics are to use while fishing in shallow water. Or if you're listening on your favorite MP3 podcast platform, please leave a review if it allows you to do so. It allows Lure Lab, the Serious Angler Network, to be seen by more people who love bass fishing, want to learn about bass fishing, or just become an overall better angler. So we appreciate everyone and stay tuned for next week's episode.